there, my name is Megan and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today I'm going to be recommending some adult fantasy books for you guys that actually have adult main characters. We all know that books, particularly fantasy, really likes to include characters that are on the younger side, maybe teens, early 20s, and we often have that coming of age trope or that chosen one trope that usually involves a young person, a young MC. So it's kind of refreshing to have authors that have main characters that are in their older ages, 30s, 40s, 50s, even higher, and I absolutely love reading from those characters' perspectives, especially as I'm getting older myself. So I have a handful of fantasy books that do have an older main character that actually has a point of view and is a big part of the plot. But before we go ahead and get on into the books, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, as well as giving this video a like to throw my channel a little bit of support. I'm going to start off with the Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks. We have a main character in this book named Gavin Guile, and he is essentially the prism. In this world, the magic system revolves around light, and drafters can actually take different colors of light and make them into physical substances. Gavin is the prism. He can control all of the colors of light, and he's incredibly powerful both politically and societally, and he is in probably his early to mid-30s. He is a big chunk of the book, definitely. And then we have his love interest, whose name is Karis, and Karis also can control this magic, but she is not as powerful as Gavin. And then we also have a main character named Kip, and Kip is the younger teenage character, but he does play a very important role and has a very important relationship with Karis and Gavin. And then we also have Andros Guile, and Andros Guile is Gavin Guile's father, and he has a point of view, and he is almost an antagonistic type character in this series, but as the series progresses, we learn that he is way more involved in the machinations of this plot than one would originally think at the beginning of the story. So even though he's the antagonist, kind of, he is an older character. He's a grandfather type character. But then, like I said, we have Gavin and Karis, who are in their 30s and are definitely major players in the plot, specifically Gavin. Next, we have Erase the Sands by Sarah Beth Durst. This is a standalone adult fantasy. In this book, we are following a main character named Tamara, and Tamara is a mother. She is middle-aged, and this whole plot revolves around riding Keyhawks, which are these monster-type beings. And Tamara used to be a Keyhawk rider until she got injured, but now she trains riders to ride these Keyhawks, and she comes across a girl who she kind of takes under her wing and becomes a maternal-type figure to her, and the two of them go on to train to ride these Keyhawks and win this really, really prestigious race. So it's a different plot. It has a desert setting. It shows the relationship between two women, a younger, more mentor type character, and then a younger rider that really, really showcases the maternal instincts of Tamara. So it's just a different take on your main character, because we don't see, in my opinion, a lot of mother type characters that have such a focus as Tamara does in this plot. And then we have Thomas Senlin from Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. We are first introduced to Senlin as he is on his honeymoon with his new wife at the Tower of Babel. But the thing is that Myra, his wife, is quite younger than he is. Senlin, I don't know if they ever give his age in this book, but I would say he's probably in his early to mid-30s, maybe a little bit older. But he has been a bachelor for a long time, and his wife Myra was actually his pupil at one time, a long time ago. Senlin's a teacher. So we can see that, number one, there's an age difference, but number two, he's not a young guy. But in this book, we are following Senlin as his wife goes missing at the Tower of Babel. And the Tower of Babel is like a destination spot, but it also has a dark undercurrent of things that are going on. And Senlin decides to search after his wife, and we're going through years as he is going through the Tower of Babel, coming across all these different things and meeting all these different people and kind of learning how sinister this tower is, all in his journey to find his wife. I think that the series is definitely underrated, and I quite enjoyed it, and like I said, does have a middle-aged main character. Then I'm going to go with the Risen Kingdoms trilogy by Curtis Craddock. We have a main character in here whose name is Jean-Claude, and he is a fatherly type figure to Isabelle, who's in her 20s. And the thing that I like about Jean-Claude is that he used to be a musketeer. This world is based loosely off of France and Spain in like the 1700s, and he used to be a musketeer, and it's so fun because we're following his point of view, and he's always grumbling about how old he's getting, how his body isn't working the way that it used to, how he doesn't quite fit in his musketeer outfit anymore, and it's just loads of fun. But at the same time, Jean-Claude is fearless. He loves Isabelle like a daughter and will do anything for her. And he's instrumental in helping Isabelle be successful in the series, as well as getting into a lot of mischief himself. Definitely a really fun character. Then we have the Powder Mage trilogy by Brian McKellen. One of our main characters in this book is Thomas, and Thomas is a powder mage, meaning that he can ingest gunpowder, and this gives him magical abilities such as increased senses, etc. But the thing that I love about this book is that Thomas literally led the coup to overthrow the current government at the beginning of this book. He is a military leader. He is a strategist. He is cunning, and a lot of this book follows him as he is leading these armies to be successful in their fight. But then we're also following his son, Daniel Two-Shot, who is probably in his early 20s, if I remember correctly. And we have this kind of like estranged father-son relationship. So we are following this really successful military leader as he's continuing to lead his troops into battle and victories, as well as trying to repair the relationship with his son. So we have a multi-dynamic character who is well into his 40s and once again has the wisdom of his age and is very relatable for people who have older children. And lastly, we have the Ravensmark trilogy by Ed McDonald. I'm currently reading the second book in the series right now. This is a first-person point of view fantasy, so our main character is Ryhalt Galhero, and he is an older character. He's probably in his, I would say, early to mid-40s. And it's interesting because I think out of all of the books that I just talked about, this is the only one that's first-person point of view. So when we are talking about a character that's older, we are definitely in his head. So he is constantly having that old, wizened thought process. For example, there is an orphan in the second book that he is constantly trying to keep out of harm's way. He's constantly commenting how he wants better for her, doesn't want her to see all of the tragedies that he had to when he was younger. And then we have the constant, like, comments about how his body is getting older and his hip hurts and his leg hurts, and I feel like every single one of these characters that is older comments at some point about how they are having pains from old injuries and etc. But I think out of all of the books, because this one is first person point of view, we kind of definitely get into that older character's head more than the other books. All right, y'all, those are some fantasy book recommendations that have older main characters that do have their own points of view and are vital to the story. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, or if you have any good recommendations for fantasy books that have older main characters, and I will see you all in another video soon. Goodbye!